Hi everyone, this is Sinatra from the Reserve team, and welcome to the first episode of our protocol revamp flash course. In this first episode, I'm going to walk you through the RToken platform, what it is and why we developed it. First of all, what we do at Reserve is we build tools for people to combat the effects of high inflation or hyperinflation. Why do we do that? Well, if you look at the world today, there's always some countries experiencing high inflation, even hyperinflation in some cases, which obviously has a lot of damaging effects on people using the currency of that country. So what we do as a solution, especially in the short term, is we allow people to escape their weak currency, like the Venezuelan bolivar or the Argentine peso at this moment or whatever, and we allow them to escape through our Reserve app to a strong currency, which is currently a US dollar pegged stablecoin. And so people can on-ramp or off-ramp in both directions whenever they want. And this basically allows them to, again, escape from their weak currency and save and spend their money at a stable, strong currency. Now, if you look at the future, then you might see a situation where the US dollar, that currency that we're relying on so much to be strong, becomes weaker and weaker. And if something like that happens, the problem is that we don't have a solution in that case. Like if the US dollar becomes the weak currency, we have the platform where we don't actually have a strong currency to escape to. And that is the reason why we developed the RToken platform. The RToken platform is basically a way to find this strong currency. And I'm going to explain what that means in a second. First of all, the RToken platform is a platform that allows anyone to easily create their own stable currency. Why do we do that, or why did we develop that platform? Because while we have a pretty good idea of where we want to go with that currency or how that currency should look, we don't want this journey to find out that currency, we don't want it to be centralized. We think that permissionless competition is welcome in this case. And the reality is, while we have a pretty good idea of what we think that currency might look like, we don't have an exact idea of the ideal basket or how that currency should be governed. And so basically we're going to start creating some currencies, but if at one point an individual or a company doesn't agree with our point or with our ideas and thinks they can create a better currency, they can do that on the platform. And then when their currency has more adoption or people like it more, then that might become the dominant stable currency. So to put that visually, this is how the platform is going to launch. We are going to launch with two stable currencies. We have RSV, as you know it now, which is backed by USDC, Pax dollars, and True USD, and is governed by Reserve. And so it's going to be governed centrally in the same way that it is right now. We are also going to launch a second stablecoin, and I'm calling it RSX right now because we haven't defined the real name yet. That will change soon. But basically, we're going to create a second stablecoin, which will be backed by DeFi yield bearer tokens, which are tokens from protocols like Aave, Compound, or Curve that will basically generate some yield for the holder. And this second currency will be governed by a DAO. And the way we're going to market these two stablecoins is RSV is going to be the checkings account in the Reserve app, and RSX is going to be the savings account in the Reserve app because it generates some yield. Now, at a certain point, we are going to evolve as a company and we're going to want to create a better currency, because keep in mind that these two initial currencies are still have a relation to the US dollar. So we don't have a long-term solution in case the US dollar would lose its value. So at one point we might come along and we might create a third token on the RToken platform. And that third token might be backed by multiple currencies like the euro or GPD, GPB I mean, or maybe some gold or some other commodities and even equities or whatever. So we might create a third token, which can also be governed by a DAO. But then if someone comes along and says, well, that's a pretty good idea, the third token, but I think I can do it better, they can basically copy our setup. They can copy that token basket, but they can say, well, I like the basket, but I think we can create a better currency if it's not governed by a DAO, but by company X, for example. And that can be whatever. That can be a group of experts or a certain company or whatever, or it could be a different type of DAO, whatever. Those are basically the things that people will be able to configure and will be able to do on the RToken platform. And so if we go through enough of these iterations of people discovering that ways to that ideal currency, we believe that ultimately we'll get to that currency. And then when the US dollar or the euro or the Japanese yen start losing a significant amount of value, then we have a currency to escape to through the Reserve app or any other app for that matter. We are going to be releasing the user interface of the RToken platform or the Reserved app pretty soon, so that you know exactly what it looks like, how you can actually create a new token and that kind of stuff. But here's already some parameters to give you an idea of the things you'll be able to change on each RToken. So you'll be able to change, obviously, the basket of collateral assets. That's what we've been talking about. But also the governance. Should it be managed centrally through a multisig, a DAO, or something else? You'll be able to define the staking lockup delays. How much time should there be as a lockup for RSR before it can be unstaked? And by the way, we're going to talk about the exact role of RSR pretty soon in one of the next episodes. You can also define what a default looks like. When should RSR insurance actually be used to cover some issues with collateral tokens? And as I said, there will be many more of these parameters, but I hope this gives you an idea. So this was the first episode of our protocol revamp flash course. I hope it was valuable to you. If you have any questions, you can reach us on these social media platforms, or you can always send me a DM. In the next episode, we're going to talk about the exact role that RSR plays as insurance for the RTokens. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching.